Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel. Welcome to our little sort of guide dealy again for Rome and in Attila Total War. So, we're just going to go ahead and hit end turn. I just want to see what happens during it. Now, at this point in time, we're in a slightly precarious position. I mean, our income's not great, but it will naturally increase. So we don't have to worry about that. The Ostrogoths have declined to attack, so that's a good thing. We potentially might be able to catch up to these Vandals here. Or they're going to get destroyed. Okay, that's actually perfect. That works super well for us. We're still going to get our army up to Uvevum, and that's going to be to check the other Vandal army that's going to be around there, because there is another Vandal army lurking around somewhere. They're not destroyed as a faction, unless they are. Sometimes that happens. But this way we can declare the war on the Suabians this turn, wipe them out, eliminate them from the campaign. And that will let us sort of... if he moves too far away, I can't. This will let us sort of free up this legion that we have here in Germany and reduce the number of troops that we have to sort of worry about. I'm going to have to check our diplomatic standing with the Mauritanians. What the hell's going on here? Okay, so the Ossages have decided that they're going to attack the Ostrogoths here. I don't particularly want to attack these guys, so I'm going to decline here. The reason being that the attack is not in our favor here. They've got these excellent Gothic warband. It's a very high tier unit. They've loaded themselves up with mercenaries, and I don't particularly feel it's in my best interest to sally forth from my fortifications. So as you can see, they've gone ahead and beaten up the Ossages, or whatever you want to call them. So that was a little bit odd. Let's see here. Well, we could force this guy to become adopted through intimidation, which will decrease his loyalty. You know what? We're going to go ahead and intimidate him, and we'll see how badly that affects his loyalty. Yeah, that's quite bad, but it's a shame that I can't have him secure his own loyalty, because that would be hilarious. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to secure loyalty with him. This is going to delay us even a little bit more in terms of getting military commanders. Military offices filled in, but that is perfectly okay by me. Now these guys are going to take some damage sitting out in the cold like that, which is fine. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I could pick up a couple of units of these guys here. Oh crap, I didn't disband some of my mercenaries. This is so bad. Looks like it was just them though, so that's fine. Okay, well that cut about 300 off my income or something like that. Let's actually not do that just yet. Let's look at the rest of the map. Now, one of the things here, the Abdanians have not moved their armies. This one is actually going to get weakened. I've got a decent stack of troops here, and I could potentially take Eblana. I do actually possibly have enough troops to take out the Celtic stacks here. I will lose a considerable number of troops on the forced march over here, though, if I go in winter. So it could be to my benefit to wait until spring, move my army across there, and then attack with the navy. So we're going to actually go ahead and let that happen, since I don't feel like I want to take the extra attrition, and I don't feel pressured up here to do that as fast as possible. I could do it faster by doing it this turn, but I just don't really feel that that's necessary. We'll build fields there next turn. We don't need to build them this turn. Actually, I could also build a guardhouse. That's highly effective here. By building a guardhouse here, we can lock it down a little bit because it's a little bit of public order, and it increases our garrison by quite a bit. Our starting garrison here is literally just a cohors unit, which is awful, until we change this over to a Vicus, whichever it is. And once we've done that, we'll have a slightly better position in terms of being able to resist attacks there. But until then, we can't really do a whole lot. Let's go ahead and look at the situation with the Suabians. Despite the fact that it is winter, we've got a decent enough chance to sort of catch them. We're definitely going to grab these two Germanic cavalry. The Germanic cavalry are something that are quite difficult to get, and cavalry in general is quite difficult for Rome to get early on. A lot of the other factions can get them just by having farms. We can't do that, so that's something that we have to consider. Now, if we look at the political situation, we've got the Alans over here who are allied with the Vandals, and we've got the Swabians who are allied to the Vandals. So we're going to end up at war with some people. Actually, they broke their alliance, it looks like. That's very strange. That means I can attack the Swabians without having to engage in a war against the Vandals. Now, what I would normally do to avoid a war with the Alans and to gain extra brownie points with the other factions here, you can declare war on the Vandals by going to the Alamans, going in here and saying, I'm going to join your war against the Vandals. And they're going to have that moderate chance. But you can get a little bit of money, and they will like you more if you do it that way. And it avoids a war with the Alans. So it's an effective way to do that. It's an effective way to get a little bit extra out of them. Now, I have to make sure the Picts are at war with somebody. So I'm going to try and see if they'll join a war against just whoever. It doesn't really matter. And these guys have accepted a war with the Saxons, as a matter of course, which probably means that the Franks are doing a pretty good job of beating up the Saxons, which is fine by me. I mean, I don't mind that at all. These guys, yeah, things are going okay for them. So what we're going to go ahead and do is declare war on the Swabians. We'd never want to declare war on somebody by right-clicking on them. If it brings that message up when you're declaring an attack against an army, you don't want to do it that way. Again, we're not going to call up our allies, and that is going to be that. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can get anybody into this war, again, just for that political purpose. And this is, again, a slow and annoying process, but it earns you so much diplomatic power. Like, basically, you'll be friends with so many extra people because of this that it really is worth it. These guys are unlikely to join the war against them because they're already at war with somebody, but the Anteans, I think they're unlikely to join in a war against anybody because of their statistics. See? Even though it's like no risk themselves. Alright, so Gaetulians. What I wanted to actually check is the Marians. Now these people are not actually as peaceful as I necessarily would like, but they do like us, so.
We are men of words.
Okay, so we'll try and get them to like us a little bit more, but it's the Markomans and the Lugians that I really want joining this war here. Accepted. Good.
I have little gain in wasting the day on you. What you say?
Good. Okay, so those ones in particular are the ones that I really wanted to join in on that particular war. So, the fact that they have is really good for us. I could have actually gotten the Picts to join in on that as well, but whatever. I could actually try to get the Vandals to join that war, but they're unlikely to since they're engaged in a war and they're losing. So, I mean, you know, it becomes unlikely that they're willing to do that. But yeah, those are sort of the wars that I think I can get people into. And that's just going to mean that as I beat them up, people are going to like me more. Everyone loves a bully. I mean, that's just the way of things. That's the world, man. And we're going to be able to auto-resolve this. They're going to probably dismantle their camp and run away. Especially because they're within reinforcement range of that town there, of Turonum. Alright, so, in we go. And yeah, this is going to be so in our favor that it is definitely an auto-resolve sort of situation. Let's go ahead and hit that. Go with the balance stance. We've got a catapult, so there we go. And we're going to use the captured men to replenish our forces somewhat. And that's the Swabians out of there. And clearing out the roving tribes in your territory is just a tremendously useful way to make your fighting forces more effective. I mean, it makes it so that you can focus along a front that is more or less not whatever stupid pedunk place in your interior lines that those Swabians would otherwise be rampaging through. Because, I mean, if I had to have armies masking them the entire time, that's an army that's I really do want to send up to here. Or maybe up to Colonia Agrippina. And I kind of also want to reduce the size of this army, because this is a bit too expensive right now. Or I want to ship some of them over to one of my other armies, like having them force march over to swap out the Legio 10 Gemina. That is also another worthwhile thing to do with these guys. So that is all kind of the things you want to consider when you're doing this. Naturawa over here is still going to have problems and is probably going to revolt soon. We're not going to worry too much about that. We have not got very much money coming in next turn, so we do want to do something about that. So you kind of want to go over your units and think to yourself, like, what can I get rid of safely? I do want to keep this Onager because they're quite hard to replace, and they get more expensive sort of over time. The Federati Spears, I mean, theoretically it's a good unit. I just don't think that it's worth this much upkeep. So what we're going to do is we're going to consolidate them into smaller number of units, and that's going to save us a little bit of upkeep, just a little bit. Up here, I mean, we've got a lot of these units, but we are actually going to be fighting next turn with them, so I don't want to be doing anything too crazy as far as that goes. Over here, we've got the Steppe Levy. They're incredibly inexpensive. We could get some Germanic Band, actually. Those are really good, and that's going to drop our income down again. But their upkeep's not that high, so that's perfectly fine. To compensate for this, we can take some of these units of Limitane Border Guard, consolidate them into single units. We can't do much more than that as far as they go, but we can also reduce our number of cohorts units by 1. So that ends up reducing our upkeep by quite a bit, and it doesn't reduce the fighting efficacy of this legion too much because the Germanic Band are going to replace some of that fighting power. So you need to go over your armies from time to time and do this sort of thing. And it's quite annoying, but that is kind of the case. So we've demolished some other buildings as well. In particular, we've gone ahead and demolished our rally field up in Eberacum because we aren't going to be using this as a production base anymore. So we're going to go ahead and replace that with that. Over in Carolus, we kind of need to get some more money before we can do anything, but I did reduce the building there, and we need to also look over here. We did the same here. I should have actually waited another turn or two for that, but that'll be okay. Next turn, we're going to be going through food, though, so that's going to be a bit of an issue still, in that we aren't going to be able to quite get our buildings the way we want them to. Let's check our happiness. Tripoli. Alright. Now, at the very least, this place doesn't have any major outbreaks of plagues or anything like that, but I really need our population to tick over 1 more so I can get a church here. And that's going to help the place out quite a bit. Now, I could get an upgraded church by replacing one of the farms in Africa, likely the one over in Hadrumentum. If I did that, what would end up happening is that Christianity would spread across this region a lot better, because right now the predominant religion is not Christianity, it is minor religions, which is actually kind of silly. Latin Christian is on the upswing, though. Speaking of Latin Christianity, let's go ahead and make sure that all of our priests that can are getting to the places that they want to go to. Okay, so we're heading over here. And if they make it to the place with enough movement points, which I'm pretty sure they won't, I can change the stance to inspire populace. Actually, then they can. Huh, interesting. So Tarraco is going to be receiving a good boost as far as that goes. And you can see that Latin Christianity is supplanting Celtic paganism very, very quickly because of this. And if we look over here, we can see the influence is 14 compared to 3. So that's why Celtic paganism is dropping tremendously quickly there. And these guys are going to start gaining experience just for standing in that region. We had another one. Where did I send him off to? Okay, so he was heading up to here, so we're going to make sure that he starts going that way. And yeah, the other place is going to be Lugdunum, which is also Celtic Pagan. This is going to help us out quite a bit. One of the other things that's going to help out is that I sent a provincial governor up to Narbo, and he's converting people to Christianity, which is increasing not only the influence of religion over here, so for example, we're becoming more Latin Christian here, and Greco-Roman is falling. We're also going to be seeing an upswing in adjacent regions. So if we were to go over here, for instance, and we can find Latin Christianity is heavily influenced because of that addition. It's the stat plus osmosis. The osmosis is coming from those influence from adjacent regions. So that's another important element to that, is if you can find sort of places that are sort of adjacent to large amounts of other places, putting churches down there and putting priests there actually tremendously helps the diffusion of religion. So this entire region of Tarraco is adjacent to quite a large number of other regions, and it's spreading the religion around there. And that's adding public order to a larger number of regions than would otherwise be possible. I do want to save up my money. I don't want to spend anything else this particular turn, because, you know, it's a little bit meh to try and do that. But I am going to go into our diplomacy box here. Since I wiped out a faction that other people were at war with, they might like me a little bit more. This place is deteriorating. These people are deteriorating. So, looks like I'm not going to be able to get a trade agreement with them anytime soon. We'll have to try and find some other ways to make them like us. But we don't actually have enough trade goods to really lock in any of these trade agreements anyway, so this is pretty much the best we're going to be able to do for now. Sometimes the Lugians are actually just willing to trade with us off the bat, but it doesn't seem to be the case this particular playthrough. Alright, so that is the best that we can accomplish right now. We are in a position now to sort of prevent the forces from Casurgis to have them screw us over too badly. We're going to move over here without spending any more money on the Steppes tribesmen. We don't particularly feel like we need them. We're going to take some damage from having walked over here through the snow. You can basically tell anywhere on the map where there's snow, you're going to take a little bit of damage, which is fine. But that sort of is the case of things. I just want to sort of keep an eye on how things are going here. What I actually might do is just get the one unit of bodyguard to change my stance into mustering. And again, that just increases the number of new units that I'll be getting. So I'll be going into our next battle with a much larger army than it... Well, not a much larger army, but with a few... About 100 extra troops as if I hadn't done that. So we still have a few more turns, though, before our cascade of rebellions start. If we look here, like, it's minus 12, minus 12. It's going to be a couple turns before the places like that revolt. We're going to have to keep an eye out on Africa in general, just because we've got someone who is potentially going to attack us there. And I think if we do see them attacking, we can send this army all the way down there. It'll take a while for them to get there, but, I mean, that sort of is the way of things. So, anyway, let's go ahead, hit end turn yet again, and see what happens. Alright, so the Picts being there means that I might kill them before the Abdanians. Visigoths have started to penetrate into our lands a little bit. The Almans, having defeated the Vandals, are sort of wandering around our territory being assholes. We'll have to mask their armies to a certain degree, because they're not friendly with us. If they were trade partners, I wouldn't bother, but sending an army up to Argentoniums just so I can blitz their capital if I have to is probably what we're going to do here. I am very interested to see what the Ostrogoths are going to end up doing. Let's see here. We've also got Casurgis sending guys down here for some reason. The Morians haven't declared war on us, and they're heading back down south, so it's possible as well that they're going to declare war on the Garmentanians, which would be not unprecedented. I mean, it does happen. Disease outbreaks. Okay, so this is in Florence and Axis Sexte. I'm surprised it took this long for these to happen. We're going to go ahead and get the small bribe. That'll help. But if we look here, that effect of that plague is -2 public order and -1% wealth. If you end up with a disease outbreak in every city in a province, it's devastating. Like, it just crushes morale there. It's -6, which is a lot, even if you've got built-up infrastructure. So keeping an eye on your sanitation is actually quite a good idea if you want your population to remain happy, because those also last for quite a while. And we're going to go ahead and bring this guy up into here. And we're going to go ahead and put him into Inspire Populace as well. So you can see that they're actually now happy here, which probably sounds a little bit odd. Going to go ahead and increase this guy's level a little bit and put him into normal stance. That's all fine and good and great. But on the other hand, over here, one of the things that happened was the Scots, or rather the Picts, moved their army down south a little bit. So I can now attack this army over here. And they've gone ahead and they've fortified their position, but that doesn't really matter because I outnumber them by far too much. So what I can actually do is I can blitz Tuasis rather than going and taking out the Abdanians. It doesn't particularly matter which one of those two I go for first. So, I mean, I can pick either one, really, and it'll be about the same effect. But I do want to probably decide by the end of the turn, obviously. In any event, let's go through here. It's spring, so that means that all farm buildings are cheaper than normal. So what we can do is we can go over to Britannia Superior, we can develop this land here, and we can go ahead and get fields for 150 less. That's actually pretty significant savings, so if you ever have the chance, you should always do your fields in this season. We've got a couple places that are in the red that we're not going to be able to fix. That's perfectly fine. You're not always going to be able to upgrade all of your cities in the sort of way that you want. We've got a good food surplus overall, so that is fine as is. We don't have to change anything there. Let's see here. We do want to spend all our money, however, and what we've gone and done is that Insula Occidentalis, for example, we've demolished some buildings here, so we need to replace them, and getting a capital there, of course, always a good thing. It's worth quite a lot of money, and it's costs quite a lot of money to make, so there is that, but it means that next turn, of course, as well, Baetica will be able to... Actually, let's do the one in Baetica first, because that will finish by next turn. We're going to go ahead and add sanitation over to Baetica over here, because also we're going to be upgrading these orchards because they increase squalor, but they also increase our public order, our food production, and our resource production. So wine is a great resource. Fruit orchard as well we could do, but it's not as much public order. It is more food, but it's also not as much resource production. So I mean, vineyards are just much better for that. So I think that's what we're going to do with our time there. And I just want to check some of our general statistics here. So even though this guy's inspiring the populace over in Tarraco, it's getting a -7 to its public order here. So we do want to increase that somewhat. I think that part of it is religious. Yeah, religious difference is -2. But that's not a tremendous amount. So if we eradicate the -2 there, that would be, only a little bit extra. Up here in Lugdunum, we're actually into positive, but that's because we've got a very large army stationed there. We're going to move these guys up towards Colonia Agrippina, because that's one place that tends to get attacked quite often. With the who are these guys? The Markomans over here. It's a good idea for me to keep a garrison nearby, and I think that we could actually defeat their army because it's quite weak if they attacked us at Euvivum, just because we've got a bit of a garrison there in addition to the actual buildings there. And this region is also going to be in the positive morale, so that's going to work out in our favor. This place is now positive because we got the army station there, but this guy's fallen down to -6. So priests help. They don't solve everything, though. So, but yeah, I'm still deciding. Like, one of the ways that you want to consider this is you want to attack the one who is more hostile to you first. The Abdanians are quite hostile to us, but their attitude towards us is improving quite fast. Whereas the Picts... I think the Picts dislike us more. And their attitude towards us is deteriorating faster. So, also, the Abdanians do not have any particular fondness for the Picts. Like, they don't mind them, it looks like. So, it would work out more to our favor to go ahead and declare war against the Picts. Against the Picts. So we've declared war on them. We're going to go ahead and find out who is willing to join us in our war against the Picts.
You have the ear of my people. Do not waste
And again, slow, methodical, kind of annoying. There needs to be like some sort of streamlined version of this, but honestly, I don't know how you could streamline this. I think just changing the morale penalties or the penalties for this sort of action for being at war, the politics of it all, would probably make this more manageable for the majority of players. But I mean, most players, I think, would sort of really just not be happy about having to do this much.
I have no stomach.
Really? Okay.
Do not attempt to sweeten truth with honey. Speak plainly.
Alright, so we've got the Markomans on our side here. And, what with the Roxolanians? They really hate us. Let's see if we can actually get these guys to fight the Ostrogoths. That would be lovely if they would. Or even go north. They are willing to go north and fight the Jutes. Okay, that is good for us. And that is pretty much everything that we're going to do there. Alright, so this unit is in fortified stance. That means that it has got some bonuses and some extra fortifications. All we can see are some very light units here, but they're going to run away here, so that's going to be the way of that. We do want to destroy this army again before we go on to the city, though. So let's go ahead and move here. Alright. And you can see that this is a very, very weak army that they've got here. Alright, so let's go with balanced. And we shouldn't have lost too many people. Yeah, we lost 286, that's fine. It's not really a big deal. And we've got the means to attack them directly now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to siege the city. We might have to manually play this one out, but we are going to do a couple things before we do this attack. So first of all, one of the first things that we're going to do is go in here. I don't really want that to be defensive. Zeal is a really good thing. Public order and local province is a really good thing, so we're going to take those. And also we want to check for... We actually got a full army here, right. I recruited an extra Limitane border guard. Okay, let's take a look at this. I think our odds are less than 50%, so not in our favor. Looks like he does not have an additional garrison force there, so we're going to have to play this one out on the battlefield, which is going to be relatively interesting. We've got a catapult, so that we've got the opportunity to directly move into his base, attack him head on, but we'll have to see how that goes. We'll play this out real quick, and, well, not real quick, it's a siege, but that's going to be the last thing that we're going to do for this episode, I think. Okay, so here we are on the battlefield. I am going to wait. They technically have a missile advantage, so fog is actually somewhat beneficial, but I mean, it does horrible things to my frames. And also, I want my catapult to land as many shots as possible, so it's more important for me to have accuracy with my one missile unit than it is for me to negate hits from their many missile units, so it's one of those few situations where that holds true. We're not going to worry too much about the setup of our actual infantry here, but we are going to go ahead and aim at this fort wall section over here. What we want to do is try and break wall sections of the fort itself, and aim at the one near the watchtower, because we'll have a better chance of either destroying it or heavily damaging it. Either of those things heavily benefits us. Yeah, so we've already dealt a lot of fire damage to that tower. We've only done 17% damage to the wall that we're actually aiming for, and we killed 11 people and damaged the gate. So we hit everything except the thing we're aiming at. Story of my life as far as these things go. Like, the catapults really do need to be made more accurate for the player, because they're ridiculously laser accurate for the AI, and they're frustratingly inaccurate for the player. I think something probably should be done about that, because it's hitting literally everything except the thing I'm aiming at. Well, it's lovely that I did destroy the tower. We're going to aim at the wall segment further on, because I think that'll give us better luck at hitting this wall segment over here. Now, when a wall segment is destroyed, it actually sort of like explodes and takes out all the troops that are standing on top of it, which is fantastic if you can do it while there's an expensive like Celtic band unit standing on top of there, for instance, or a full archer unit or something like that. If you can manage that, it's actually quite devastating to the enemy forces. So, yeah, look at that. We did more damage to the wall aiming at a different wall segment than the one that we're shooting at. That is so bad. Like, the fact that I can be like, oh yeah, no, we'll hit more by aiming at something else, that is a problem, okay? Like, they need to not let that be a thing. Alright, so you can see people also moving around a little bit here. Looks like we might have caught their houses on fire, which is going to be good for us, because they're eventually going to start accumulating morale penalties for that. Alright, so we're up to 70% damage there and 35 there. We might get through two wall sections, and then we can maybe use the last little bit to try and damage their gatehouse. That might be a good idea. No one, unfortunately, is going back up on this wall section, which is very unfortunate, because that does mean that's a lot of kill potential going away. Oh, nope. Looks like they've moved an archer unit to fill that gap, so if this wall breaks in this volley, those archers will be pretty dead. Okay, so again, we hit the unit. We forced them all to move. We're going to stop firing here. And the reason is they're redeploying their units, and I don't know if they're going to move somebody onto this wall section. It looks like they might not, but I don't want to attack them while they're redeploying, because that means that we're going to lose that opportunity to destroy the troops on the wall segment. He's moved the unit of Celtic Levy over here, though, so this means that we've got, if the wall gets destroyed on this volley, which, like, one hit's all we need. And of course, that's not what we get. We get 0 hits. God damn it, game. Ugh. This game is very like that as far as artillery goes. I mean, I wonder, actually, I've only played on Legendary. I don't know if the artillery is more accurate on easier difficulties, but that is not something that they should be changing based on difficulty. Huh, 0 hits again. The plus side of this is that I am hitting the one beside it, and I still have enough ammunition to potentially take out this one and this one, so... I mean, this one will probably take 3 hits to destroy. This one might take 1 or 2. I think I've got just enough ammunition to do that, so... we'll see. Okay, well... that was a completely different wall segment than I was aiming at. We'll aim at this one again. And, I mean, like, I was not aiming for that at all. So, yeah. That's how bad the scatter is in this. Alright, good. We're going to go ahead and wait to see where these guys are settling into. I doubt that they're going to go up onto that wall section over here, but they might. They're deploying their dogs? The dags? The other option that we have is we could aim at this watchtower and hope that we could do some damage to it so that we can burn it down more easily using our Celtic Band. Celtic Band actually have an attack that lets them deal damage to buildings. They've got the torch still. They removed it for most units, but they did keep it for some. With him moving his units back up there, the gatehouse does not seem like a terribly bad target, so we're going to go ahead and aim at that. Did we get a single hit there? I don't think we got a single hit there. Right. Well, all that we can really do now is sort of rush forward, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to have our Celtic Band attacking that. We're going to move a couple of these units over to here. And they can also attack the gatehouse. Like, the gatehouse, these units will actually just attack. Like, they aren't going to do the strange thing where they burn it down, but they are going to attack. We're going to actually start moving our units just up these breaches if we can. Okay, so it looks like I'm not going to be able to make that there in time, so we're going to go ahead and back off with these guys. Oh, and our cav is getting picked off by that turret there, so we're going to move away a bit. Oops, our Celtic Band is getting too far ahead, so we're going to stop them here. It's not a great thing to have them in front of the tower like this by themselves, but, I mean, not a whole lot we can do about that until our army gets here. Alright, so, yeah, these guys, we're going to have them start hacking away at that. That should be fine. 2 of our cohorts, we're going to move in through this side. Whatever. These ones we're going to have attacking along this side, approximately at those dogs. If the AI were less janky, it would probably be unfair. Alright, so they've got quite a large army here, it would seem. Okay, they're not actually willing to chop that down. We're gonna have them throw torches at this watchtower instead. Alright, so their city is burning down, which is... oh, damn it. Okay, our Celtic Band is not cooperating with us, which is not surprising since we are attacking this Celtic village over here. And we will slowly and gradually chop down this fortification that they have here. We're going to send this unit over to here. We are going to send this other one up here. Alright, so our general over there, whatever, that's fine. We are going to start moving these units up there. I think that's pretty much everybody engaged, except for these guys who are busy chopping down a door. Very productive, I might add. Now, our units are getting absolutely pummeled by missile units. It is actually an unfair amount of missile units, basically. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, we can't really do a whole hell of a lot about that, because they've got some good blockers that are going to stop that from happening. General, let's go ahead and put them... Alright, so we managed to break through there, and that's captured us that tower for reasons unexplained, but that is the way it is. And we've managed to break through the gate there, so we're going to try and cripple... We've encircled this force, essentially, so we don't need to have forces pushing their way through here quite the same way that we did before. But we do need these guys to sort of break through these Celtic Raiders as best as they can. Our own horse, we need to sort of push through the mob here. Alright, so those guys are now out of the fight, and that's going to turn into a shattered pretty quickly. Okay, and their units are retreating over towards their own fortifications, like those... Alright. Actually, Celtic Band, we're going to retreat back. But our cavalry and everyone else is going to push into them. Now, the thing is, we don't want to fight under their towers as much as we can, unless we're just overwhelming the towers. We have managed to break our way into this place pretty effectively. But they've still got plenty of missile units, so we're going to try and take out whatever we can. But their blocking units have all been killed, so we should be able to move our way through these Celtic Brigands relatively quickly. Brigands are actually quite good at melee for a ranged unit. They're not, like, super amazing ones like certain Turkic units I've noticed. Archers are actually quite good at melee, and I mean actually good at melee, not just they have melee stats. I mean they're actually going to beat certain melee units. So there's that, but looks like we're going to be able to punch through these Celtic Brigands relatively fast. We're going to go ahead and increase the armor in this region. We're going to go ahead and push our way through here. And we're going to start chasing down archers wherever we can. Ranged units in general. I don't need these Limitani border guard over there. We're going to move over to this fortification as well, and we just need to actually get it out of the fight. These cavalry are dead. They're not gonna... They're gonna rout. Let's get these Levi Salvatore over to here. Yeah, that's the Cav Gaunt. Looks like they're actually retreating out of the settlement, which is interesting. Alright, so barricades are over there. We'll destroy them so we can get up top without exposing ourselves to that tower. We're already being exposed to more towers than I would like to, since we're actually having to push all the way through into here, but, you know, things be the way they be. Should actually be using swords for this, but whatever. Alright, so these guys should actually be having a hell of a time getting in there. You know what? I'm fine with these guys just doing a really derpy order through those archers. The archers shouldn't be able to hold up there all that effectively. Alright, that Celtic cavalry is finally shattered. We're going to start moving our troops over to here. Let's get these Celtic brigands if we can. Alright, so we just don't want them shooting at us for as much as this time as possible. It's just, I don't even really care. Just gonna order that attack there, even though it's a little bit derpy. I mean, there's no way there's that many people actually poking at the thing with their spears. Alright, so let's get you guys on there because you've got the extra capture power. We'll have the these guys mow down these guys a little bit faster. And yeah, this should be captured pretty quickly, and that should destroy those gates and those towers. There's actually only one tower here, but that's still something we want to get rid of. Alright, these guys.
Their tower has fallen. Good news.
We can start getting up here. We do have to kill that general, but that's fine.
For glory. Battle ready. At the double. Speed by your command.
Alright, so let's just head up here, I guess. Does not really particularly matter. If we can shoot at their general as much as is possible, that would be fantastic.
Spear infantry at your command.
Okay, that's good. Just need to get into this capture point, but we might as well run down as many of these brigands as we can, because we want to get them shattered, of course. And let's get our levies armature up here, and we'll have them capture this.
Units have returned to the battle.
Yeah, like I was saying. There we go. Okay, so we're moving our levies armature up to capture that tower, and is also to menace their general. Going to go ahead and
Has been destroyed.
move some of our other units up. They'll also go and capture that, just in case as well they rush our units up there. Alright, so we're taking quite heavy losses with those guys, but that's to be expected. Things are going pretty okay, actually. Our general, we don't want him being exposed to that kind of fire, so we're going to go ahead and attacking Testudo with them.
Happy to serve the Emperor.
But if we can capture this, looks like their general is actually wavering anyway, but yeah, we pretty heavily outnumber their general. I mean, it's not really even a competition at this point as far as that goes. It's just trying to do it with as few casualties as is possible. Which, for the most part, means taking this tower here. My cohorts I could charge in with, but honestly, they're going to be so tired at this point in time that they're not going to be very effective. So it would be better if I just waited. The Leve Salvatore, on the other hand, I mean, I might as well get them in here and really just snipe their general. Why the hell is one of those units so far back? Wow. Alright, well, whatever. These towers do take quite a while to capture, but if you've got 3 units, you'll capture it really quickly. Especially if it's 3 units uncontested. If they have units there, they can block it if they outnumber you, or they can slow it if they've got some numbers, but not as many. And that's going to be that tower down in just a second. There we go.
Their tower has fallen. Good news. Missile infantry.
And we're just going to let this guy, these guys take their shots first. Don't really like that they seem to still be running forward there.
Advance at speed.
I think it's because they got strung out. Their units kind of going derpy there. We do have 3 minutes to attack here, so...
Take aim. God save us. Ready. Over there. Close. Libertadi.
We actually have to hurry. Here.
Advance at speed. Double time. Advance at speed. Levis Amatore. Quick march. Double time. Spirit. control. At speed! Emis Amatori! Let the devil! Double time! Let the devil!
There we go. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of fire from that tower over there, but it's not at a great angle, so... If I can get these guys up here, they're going to start firing at that Celtic Warlord. He's going to be taking a lot of damage really quickly from them, so... That ought to be fine. And yeah, now we're firing javelins into the back of that Celtic Warlord. It's going to break him, and that's going to end the battle, so... Only a minute left, but, you know, that is the way sieges work. We did take quite heavy losses, which I'm not too surprised about, but I'm also not too upset about. We did lose, like, all of our cav, though, which is a little bit upsetting. Alright, and that should be the Picts out of the game. Alright, so, decisive victory. We did lose our entire cavalry unit.
Ready for battle.
Alright, and that is indeed the Picts out of the game. We can go ahead and dismantle that level 2. The enclosure here is something that is peculiar. Now, I am going to dismantle it because it is providing a bit too much squalor and a bit too much public disorder, but I'm going to leave it at the level 1 building. Now, if we were to look at this, again, we cannot upgrade it, we cannot do anything with it, but it is something that's there. We're going to actually dismantle all of the buildings here, and we're going to replace them with our own superior Roman buildings, because we are snobs. Now, one of the problems is that we do have a very weak garrison for the small city here. It still can defeat some rebellions, but it's going to have a much harder time than if I had another type of walled city here. It's going to be much more problematic in Eldon, where rebels could retake the city very easily and very quickly. So we're going to have to definitely look out for that. So that's the Picts destroyed, though. So we're going to, again, look over all of our diplomatic ties here and find that everyone does still indeed hate us, but I mean, they're at peace again, which is the problem. You want to make sure that everyone is always at war with everybody else as much as is possible. But anyway, that is going to be a lot of battles for considering this is turn 5 and we've already taken out like 3 factions, which I think is pretty good actually. You want to actually be doing that sort of stuff. You want to be taking out factions where possible. In fact, I kind of wish that I was in position to take out these guys here. Are they allied with anybody? Because we could move an army back to try and attack them. But on the other hand, they are attacking the Ostrogoths for us, which is good, and they're already at war with too many factions. They're very unlikely to declare war on me. It's just extremely unlikely. Now, they could do it anyway, but I think I could even take this sort of army on with my garrisons, depending on what they recruit next turn. So, yeah, I mean, taking out them as a faction would be fantastic. I'm not sure how practical it is, but we'll have to see how that goes. I don't have the armies in the region to necessarily contest that. But, actually, we've taken out 4 factions because we've also destroyed the Suebi. But yeah, anyway, I hope you found this episode enjoyable. You can really see the solidification of a front here, though. Like, I kind of feel secure, 90% secure, maybe less, down south here. And that sort of means that I can focus my attention elsewhere. Like, I feel that this place, this area, this region is relatively safe. I don't feel threatened by the enemy here all that much. I mean, they could potentially be a bit of a problem, the Marians, for instance. They're relatively friendly to me, and their attitude is improving. So we've got that sort of bonus to that. It means that we're going to eventually be even better friends, and eventually we can get non-aggression, then defensive alliance, and so on and so forth. I think that the Gaetulians are actually defensive and passive, so they're extremely unlikely to attack us, even if we did piss them off a little bit. And the Garmentanians, I think, actually admire us. So these guys are unreliable opportunists, but they do like us by default more than the other ones do. So all of these guys are going to become quite friendly with us in all likelihood in the future. Once we've managed to take over all of the British Isles, one of the nice things that's going to happen is we'll be able to reduce the size of this army by quite a bit. We could, like, have it, and it would be perfectly reasonably effective at governing Britain. And that's sort of a situation that we want to get ourselves into. Actually, can I? Yeah, no, I didn't think I could. I can never actually move my units after I take a city, as I think the rule, but I think there are some cases where you sort of can, or blah, blah, blah. But in any event, yeah, like, we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to lock down regions that... And,
this game's completely frozen.
But yeah, once we've sort of locked down everything on the west and in the south and in sort of this northern area, we can focus everything on our east. And to do that, we are eventually going to have to start turning on people like the Franks and the Saxons and what have you. In the city of Eberzus, we're going to have to potentially take. We'll have the resources to do that because we don't have to focus any of our military forces down to the south. Once I've got my forces up here, I could actually move to Argentoratum instead of to Colonia Agrippina, and I'll be in a very good spot to attack Eberzus, and all of that other stuff will sort of fall into place. But right now, I'm going to have to defend for a little bit. After I'm still going to take Ablana, of course. That's going to be a given. But I can start focusing primarily on defending myself against rebellions, because those are going to start cropping up quite soon. Tripolitania is going to be rebelling in 2 more turns, and there's nothing I can add to this region right now or anytime soon. I mean, after that, there's probably somewhere else along Africa. I bet this place is... Yeah, this place is also going to rebel that same turn. We might want to consider taking whichever one of these is more or less more poor. They both have good food surpluses, though. You can take provinces that are likely to rebel very soon. That's 3 turns, so that's fine. That's actually quite a while from now. And what you want to do is just make sure that there are only going to be so many rebellions at a time. Okay? You want to make sure that you're getting a limited number of rebellions every single turn. And if you can do that, you're going to dramatically decrease the odds that you're going to get shafted by some sort of nonsense. In any event, though, we're going to go ahead and increase the efficacy of these guys here. By increasing the level of your ministers, you can decrease public order penalties wherever it is they're governing. So if we were to go to Carthagenesis, that increased public order penalty, or decreased it by 3 points. So it's now -1 instead of -4. If we went to wherever that other one was, where were you governor of? Oops. Galatia. Okay, so if we went here, it used to be -8. It's now -5. So you can see the effects that those levels have on your governor is actually quite profound. My other governors are going to be leveling up as well. So if we were to go to this region over here, Insulae Occidentalis, we could get it down from 8 to 5. And if we were to go over to Magna Graecia, it would go down from 7 to 4, which is actually quite good. Narbo over here has normalized back at -2 and 0. Our governor here still doing Christian missions, and that's going to continue being a good thing for quite a while here. We've got majority Christian there. It's starting to spread quite heavily into some other regions, which is going to, again, reduce that public disorder. But yeah, that's an overview of where we should be at by this turn. By about turn 5, your map should look approximately like this. There have been times where by turn 5 I've taken Ablana. It is extremely difficult to actually do that, though, so don't always rely on that happening. I mean, it's just not necessarily that feasible. But yeah, for now, I hope you found this episode enjoyable. Next turn is going to be a little bit rough due to lack of income, but that is okay. And as always, I hope to see you all next time.